show. Now let's talk about the fact that the Deputy General Secretary of the NDC, Koku Anyidoho, heads back to the police CID today, Tuesday. One of his lawyers, Mr. Victor Kojoga Adaudu, is my guest. We're going to talk about the conditions and is he really returning or reporting himself? Good morning to you.
Good morning, and good morning to your cherished viewers.
Sure. So you're going back to the police CID. Is it police CID?
Yes, the police CID. They are handling the matter, so it's in their domain. So that's where we have to, as part of the condition of the bail, we have to report to them today, and they will tell us whether there is further investigation or they finish with their investigation. And then they will tell us what will be the next line of action.
Okay. But let's first of all talk about, so Koku was let go, he was released, if you like. And the basis on which he was released is not still very clear. Why did they let him go?
No, you know, the law prevails over anything that we do. The law says that when the police arrest you or you are detained, when statements are taken from you, after the statement, the next thing you ask for is a bail. Now, the law also gives the police 48 hours to do their initial investigation. When they finish with the investigation and they are ready, within that 48 hours, you need to send the person to arraign him before court, or the police has been granted that power also by law to grant police inquiry bail. So this was the two options we were looking at. They started the investigation. They've gone to search his house.
Do you know if they found anything in his house?
No, nothing was found.
Did they take anything away?
Nothing was taken away.
Okay.
So they didn't find anything, and the 48 hours has lapsed. So the only thing for them to do was to put him before court. Or you go to court and ask that we want him to be remanded. But you need to put facts. You just don't go to court and say, I'm investigating him, so we want him to be remanded. The court will know the reasons why you want to detain him. And they also have the power to grant bail. So the only option available was to grant him bail. And the bail normally is a contract between the state and the sureties, the people who will stand, who would stand for you. So we had to negotiate. And after we negotiated...
What was on the line?
They wanted, we had to go maybe for bail. Sometimes they tell you bring a landed property. That's what in legal parlance we say justification. Bring people, eminent people, people who everybody knows that they have worked for the state. Everybody across board has some respect, would doff out their hat for them. So that was what we were asked that we should do, and we're able to get. Who
stood in that capacity? We saw Koku's dad. Could
no, he came there to visit, to see his son, to see how he's faring. His other family people were also there to see to seek clearance from the CID boss to see if they will be given some access to their son. Yeah, so we agreed, two eminent people, as that's a tall order. There was somebody who would also not easily put his reputation on the line and say that I'm standing surety that I'll produce this person any day, any time. And if you don't have people like that, it becomes even more difficult.
So the former president was one of the two?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. The former president only came in also to seek clearance from the hierarchy, the top hierarchy, the police, that they wanted to have access to Koku and say hello to him.
Okay.
So that's what the former president did.
Okay.
And you'd be surprised that even being a former president, it was only he and few people that were allowed to go and see Koku. All the security details and others, the other people took charge of his security at that material moment. So it is not like he used his power as former president to go in. He still had to go through the protocol, still has to go through the process.
But we heard some kind of protocol was broken when the pictures, when we saw pictures of him and some lawyers with Koku.
No, you see, I
is that allowed? I mean, you've had clients at the BNI before in the past. Is that allowed to take pictures irrespective of who is coming to visit?
You know, the security apparatus also have some discretion. The discretion they also have is to also, they have a duty to inform the public that the person who is being held, he's fine, he's doing well. So I believe the purpose for that picture was to show that the man is not being manhandled, the man is being kept in custody, lawful custody, and he's doing well. I believe it's the discretion for the security apparatus. And when they actually even met Koku was one of their reception.
We're showing the pictures on the screens now.
Yeah, so it's one of their reception in their offices that I believe that he was put there. And you know, so that's where Koku. And when you go there, you would see that he had been given some clothes to put on. I believe some of the discretion that was done, whether it was right, it was wrong, maybe as to the security apparatus, I won't be able to know every protocol when it comes to the security, what they do. But it is for the purpose to everybody to see that he was well. Because you saw how there was agitation and people felt that he was maybe, let me say this advisedly.
Was there agitations, or it was just his political colleagues who were, you know, trying to, because obviously he's a political figure and there's a political party at the center of this. So wasn't it this political noise? It
was legal. It was legal with political undertones. I said this advisedly, that where Koku was arrested, it was a press conference, and it was in the glare of the media. And you know, the way they went about and the manner they went about his arrest, that drew the people from the press center to mass up at the police. It was just an invitation, or they said, look, come, we are investigating you, we want to investigate you for what you had said. And he had gone there. I don't think we have seen all. So it was not only just that it was the political party, the NDC. There were top echelons of the NDC at the same press conference. So they had to work. So it is both legal and political, because this is a political party. He's one of the leaders of the party, and he was brought. Also remember that the General Secretary also spoke and said, as a citizen, Koku had the responsibility to make sure he keeps government on his toes. He could speak. So when he says anything, it does not reflect that any time there is a party echelon who says anything, will reflect that that is the position of the party. We should not also forget of the fact that the NDC as a party and its minority in parliament said they were vehemently opposed to the agreement. So the genesis of his arrest was the agreement.
The US-Ghana,
yeah, the US-Ghana military
cooperation.
So it is intertwined. That's why you see the political parties and its devotees and followers says, no, this is our position. It is this US-Ghana agreement that is bringing the wedge between us. That is the government and the other political parties and all the citizens. Yes.
So what is in the caution statements?
No, so far as it's with the police, it's a public document. So I'm sure I should be able to say They said they were investigating him for the offense of treason. And he says that he hasn't said anything that is treasonable. I haven't made any comments that is treasonable. So it is a duty of the investigators to go and find out that, yes, he really had the intention that he wants to commit an offense of treason, that he had the capacity. Those are the two main elements when it comes to criminal.
Intent and capacity.
Intent and capacity. That is the act. You'll be able to implement what you want to do.
Okay.
Then you have some ingredients. Maybe the offense will tell you what you need to prove when it comes to treason, that yes, there was a person who was conniving or assisting another state or another country to levy war, you know, and there should be war, that you were going to use that with the force of arms. Also, you also wanted to abrogate the constitution. So that means parliament will be dissolved. All the organs of government, things will not work, that you overthrow. So those are the things that they will have. If they charge him for treason, they will have to put before the court that, yes, when you put all the pieces of evidence or bits of information maybe he had or discussion he had with other people, this was actually his intention.
Okay. So as you head back to the police this morning, this is what you have at the back of your mind, that they are looking at your clients they're looking at what would support this charge that they've slapped on him.
Yeah, that's
But they could also change it.
Oh, no. The law, you know, the state is the state. So the state can always substitute the charge. Now, we can also be charged. You go to court. Instead of proving that charge, maybe you have proved a lesser offense. So if it's a lesser offense that has been proved, that's why we say the law is in the bosom of the judge.
So he could be rearrested this morning?
No. Now that he's on bail, he cannot be rearrested
For
the same offense.
For another offense.
He can only be arrested for another offense or allegations that he's committed another offense. Maybe whilst he's on bail. Now, I don't want to use anything which people would say. Maybe they will say Koku has gone and stolen somebody's car or something.
So an unrelated matter.
Yeah, unrelated matter.
Okay.
That one they can arrest him.
Okay.
Right. They can arrest him, or they will say he's gone to assault somebody, which is not related to this matter. The police can always pick you for investigation.
Okay.
But anything in connection with this again, he cannot be arrested.
Okay.
Because he's already on bail.
We also heard that they are taking his phones and some other materials, personal gadgets, they put it.
No, the best of my knowledge, that is if my clients inform me, is that as we sit here, he gave me his phones.
Okay.
I had his phones. So we were having discussion whilst the statement was being taken, and one of the officers picked one of his phones. So that is the only thing I know that it is with them, the phone. Apart from that, I don't know if there's any other thing that had been picked.
But why are they still keeping the phone? I mean, what in the first place, what did they want with the phone? And if you're taking somebody's property, don't you need a warrant for it?
Yes, he took it. I'm sure that it is after the phone had been taken and everything. I saw something in the social media. I'm not inclined to believe. It might be that there is an order for them to a search warrant to conduct search on phones and laptops connected. They are doing their job. Let's leave it. How they will do their job, it is for the state to devise its own strategy to do its investigation. Whether they do it rightly or they do it wrongly, it is the state. I'm sure when they finish and they say, we found something, we want to put you in court, we will also put our strategy and arsenals ready to defend
So you're
ourselves.
okay that one of Koku's phones is still with the police?
Yeah, okay.
Do they have access? Is there, because I think we had something that they needed password to get entry, and that also went on for a while, but eventually they got the password access, something like that.
It hasn't come to my attention.
Okay, so I guess we had a lot of things in between.
There were a lot of things
true.
that were being said, rumor and others. So I was in the middle of the controversy. So what I know is what I would say.
Okay.
The rest, that from the grapevine and the rest, if I can't confirm, I'll tell you. If it is true, I'll let you know.
How long do you expect this to travel? As you go back today, do you expect that maybe after every week or 2 weeks you'll be reporting yourself to the police, something like that?
If that depends on the police. We can go today and they tell us that we're finished with the investigation, maybe we haven't found anything. Go and see no more, or you're free to go. They can tell us that we have further investigations to conduct. Those are the things we are doing. They can say we are finished, so prepare to meet us in court. Those are the three things I'm looking at. Should be the possible scenarios that we should have.
Do you believe your client sinned when he made those comments?
You know, I haven't actually seen the actual text.
What he said over the radio?
Yeah, yes.
Should we play it back to you?
I've seen something in the media. I've seen some in social media. But you know, you need to get the actual text from the sister radio station. And when it is transcribed as a whole, then you can put all into context. Then you can now analyze it.
So all as in what, the entire conversation?
Yes, as the entire conversation, because, you know, technology now gives the opportunity where people can doctor or can even edit the same thing. So if it is transcribed, you know, you can have a sentence and somebody puts not. It changes the whole meaning.
But are you aware that Koku was on, I think, Star FM and another radio station just the day after? And he didn't deny what was out there.
So until we get the Star FM one also, then we put the two together. It will give us the meaning. But I've assured Ghanaians that when we analyze the statement and we see, and we think that he's gone overboard, we are fallible.
Does he regret making those comments, though? Because people say the references that he made, at least in the little one that we've heard, granted that you haven't listened to the entire program, does he have any regrets?
No, not really. That's why I'm saying until we look at the statement itself and analyze it. You know, he's my client. He's not being the best of the frames. It's all like...
Oh, he was on Newsfile on Saturday.
Yes, he was this. I believe that if he was on Newsfile, was to say thank you and maybe for people to also know that he's faring well, he's doing well. People didn't know where he was, you know. So I'm sure that's the purpose why he was on the Newsfile.
Had a little, some form of exchanges with some saying, well, not really exchanges, but there were some unpleasant moments in that conversation. At least I felt it.
I think
he's still very much hyper.
That is Koku.
We thought that the BNI would have, you know.
You know, the BNI, maybe on the lighter side, is that he's a politician. He knows the occupational hazard that comes with. If you're a politician, anything can happen any day. You can be incarcerated. There have been leaders who have been incarcerated, who have been put in solitary confinement. And I'm sure he's read about much of this. So for him, it was also an experience living what he's read. Maybe one day he may also add it to his memoir that in a bit or having strong views and you want to express it, maybe if the choice of language does not really reflect reflect what you want to say may also put you in problem. And, you know, I'm sure these are things that if he still has strong views about this U.S.-Ghana agreement, I'm sure in communicating it the next time, he will look at maybe what he would say. So that not to connote, because, you know, Ghanaians are adverse to coup. They don't even want to hear anything about overthrow or coup. And the Constitution also legitimizes it that anybody who overthrows a constitutional democracy, you have the power to overthrow them. You have the power to make sure that they will not see the daylight. So if there is a military government and there's another coup led to overthrow them, the Constitution says that one is legitimate. So you overthrow and restore the Constitution, you will never be punished.
Koku was singing a lot of, he had very nice things to say about the police and then the BNI in terms of how they treated him. Was this rehearsed? Because, you know, anytime he spoke, because Joseph Akable met him at his residence and he wanted to be clear on the fact that he was treated well. He talked about the food that he ate and all. On Newsfile, he also made the statement about how he was treated well. So it looks like, is this rehearsed? Is this something to just get the police to throw this case away or something like that?
No, I don't think so.
You're praising them for the way they treated you. You had difficulty seeing him when he was at the BNI.
You know, the BNI has their own protocol, the way they do things. BNI are mostly, they are backroom people. They are invisible people. Even if the person works there, he doesn't want to let you know where I work. So they have their own procedure and makes it difficult for you to see your client. Now, with this one, it was the police who were in charge of this. The Security and Intelligence Act says that the security agencies can collaborate. So on this particular occasion, their custody was used. Instead of sending him to a police cell, they used the custody. Now with the police, my conversation with Koku, I believe is genuine, is sincere. Because the perception there that the police, they are always brutalizing people. The police always standing on the road, asking for some bribe. That's the perception. I'm not saying that the police did. That's the perception society has. And even you can see the Afro barometer and the rest also confirms. But seeing the professionalism that was being exhibited, it's the other side you see. I always tell people that you always think in Ghana the law doesn't work. It works. Okay. It works. That's why I always say if we leave our institutions and allow them to work, they would work. It is when, and you know, at the top, because mostly the top is controlled by the politicians, the minister, the people who oversee this institution. So they sometimes want to influence.
Okay. So from a lawyer's point of view, you agree that they were absolutely professional?
Definitely. When he got there, they told him he was under arrest, that he could say anything or not to say anything. And he said he was waiting for...
When he got to the police station.
When he got
but
to
it's
the
interesting police. when they were taking him from the press center, if you say somebody is under arrest, you need to show a warrant. And they didn't have anything like that. So was it an invitation from the press center or it was an arrest?
The press center, they told him that he was under arrest. And they said, what's the meaning of this?
Yeah.
And they said, oh, our boss will want to see you. Right? That's the CID board who wants to see you. So that's where they decided that if that is it, we will walk from the press center and go and see that. So the moment he got there, they made him to sit in the conference room. And he was told that he was under arrest for some comments he had made. So he was left there. He was there alone.
Do you blame everything that has happened? Would you say it's because of that the BNI boss, we saw that he had been reshuffled?
The grapevine information that I have is that decision had been taken earlier on.
Okay.
It's just a coincidence that Koku's destiny. But it could also, nobody knows. And you know, I always say, the politicians, you can trust them for anything. It could also be, maybe the decision has been taken within the top echelon of the security. They know what was going on, but to also appease their followers, thinking that we had the power, we have to arrest this man, we have to detain him, and so for some lapses, we could bring his dismissal as a clock and say that somebody didn't do his work well, so because of this, we've asked him to go. So that, you know, the politician always want to insulate himself from I guess
in the absence of any concrete reasons, we can only be projecting here and there. But what time are you going to are you going with Koku this morning?
I'm sure it was agreed that we'll get there by this morning, mid-morning.
Okay.
And when we get there, we'll go and see the bosses.
Okay, all right. We wish you well. We'll follow up with the outcome of this morning's appearance, or today's appearance, if you like. Victor Kojoga Adawudu.
Well.
Yeah.
I wish them well. And let me apologize to my people in Mafikumasi. You know, it's a family union. They wanted to come, and some of the chiefs and elders will not. I always say, when you give birth to a son and he becomes a public person, he has other duty. He may not even respond to you at some time. So everybody should forgive me. I'll make amends.
Yeah, definitely. We've got sports coming your way. Stay with that. Oh, no, not sports. Entertainment. Oh, maybe Becky's coming to do sports. You never know. Stay with us.